Let's get down to business so we can activate our copper golems. Hey y'all, I'm the Southern Ma'am, but all my friends call me Tasoma. Last time in the land of Terremydia, we finished the basic structure for our copper golem sorting system. However, there are a lot of other structural elements that we need to finish before we can make our base fully functional. We are still continuing our goal of building our permanent base in the hillside. Now that we have the basic shell constructed, it's time to work more on the interior details. This first goal ties right into our second goal of finishing our copper golem sorting system. By building interior walls, we'll be able to close in our sorting system so that the copper golems can be activated and get to work. Every big project begins with resource gathering, so I'm making mud and harvesting wheat in order to make packed mud for our interior. Our little raised beds just weren't quite enough cropland, so I made a giant wheat field over near our makeshift tree farm, although I don't think the locals were happy about it. After all that hard work, we now have an entire double chest full of packed mud, which we're going to use to cover the floor and the ceiling here in the open area of our base. Now, I know that in Minecraft, the physics are just not the same as in the real world. However, I always feel the need to make a sturdy foundation to any build. It reminds me of what Jesus said in the Sermon on the Mount in Luke 6, when he said that whoever comes to him and hears his words and actually does them is like a man building a house who dug and went deep and laid a foundation on the rock. When a flood arose, the stream broke against that house and could not shake it because it was founded on the rock. Just like to me, even our Minecraft homes need a strong physical foundation, our lives need a strong spiritual foundation on Jesus Christ. Endermen are kind of like having toddlers in your home. Look at all these grass blocks everywhere. They continue to fill my base with blocks, and they've even stolen some of the pumpkins for our copper golems here and laid them all around. So I've got a little bit of cleanup to do. But as you can see, we now have a packed mud floor and ceiling all throughout our base. Now, I just did the main walkways here. I'm going to put a different flooring in the rooms, probably spruce planks to start with, but we'll see when we figure out the actual decor that's going to go in each space. I like how, well, at least for the most part, we have a nice clean background on which now we can actually decorate this space. I want to put some designs on the walls and the ceilings here and add in some actual lights so we can get rid of this torch spam and make this place feel more complete. I'm still sketching and considering what I want this large space to look like, so I thought I'd take a break and work on our side rooms. Now, we will spruce up these interiors based on the actual function of each room. However, just like with our Great Hall, it makes it easier for me to think and use the space if we have very clean surfaces. So solid floors and walls and ceilings, and then I can consider what else to add. So I did add some pillars here on the outside and then around the room, as you'll see, because I want there to be something structural that seems supportive of all the weight of the earth above us. We kept the same packed mud ceiling, but switched to a spruce plank floor just to give a little different texture in the side rooms, and used stripped dark oak for the surroundings and the shelves that go around all of our chest modules. I did have to move this module a little bit. These actually went all the way to the corner, and I forgot that you can't put shelves in a single corner here. We need a space to be able to make our shelves look right. So I did end up moving these chests just a little bit to make this look a little cleaner. It's a little dim right now. We will probably add a little more lighting as we make an actual interior of the room. But this allows us to have a functional storage system where we can start labeling all of these chests and getting our copper golems to work sorting out our belongings. So now I just have to recreate this 3 more times. I think it's time to bring a little life to our base and activate all those copper golems. As you can see, I've left an entrance here so that we can get behind the storage system if we ever need to do some maintenance. Using fence gates will help because copper golems can't open those, so they'll be stuck back here in their workspaces. We want to give them a little freedom to move, but not too much freedom. We're going to put our very first copper golem here in our first section with our input chest. This guy was our very first copper golem and he froze over time, but we're going to wake him back up again. Hi, friend. Welcome back. And he is now going to be the first section of our sorting system. And we're going to put a little fence gate here so he has to stay on this side. We'll come back and wax you and name tag you in a little while. All right, now it's time to shear all these pumpkins and create the rest of our copper golems. We'll have to be quick and add some stairs above our chest. Otherwise, the copper golem will just climb on top and head on over to have some playtime with his friend. Oh, wait, I think you can make copper golems sideways too. Let's try that. Let's put our pumpkin down here and go ahead and put the stairs above. All right, that way he shouldn't be able to jump over the edge here. Let's try that. I think that will still work. It does. Welcome, friend. Oh, he has already frozen. All right, wake up, little fella. There you are. Welcome back. All right, let's keep going around the circle here and make more copper golems. I'm going to put the pumpkin on the side, and actually, let's go ahead and shave these down. This is the color I would like to keep them at. So let's go ahead and make them at that oxidation level, and that should work. There we go. And if we do a quick wax. All right. Perfect. In order to decide where to sort all of the items, I decided to go back to my trusty pencil and paper. Each room has 3 banks of 8 double chests, and there are 5 rooms if we count the Great Hall. I sketched out spaces for 24 double chests on 5 separate index cards to represent each of the 5 rooms. Then I spent considerable time considering the purpose of each room and which items would best suit those needs. I'm sure these categories will change over time, but I did try to leave spaces for items that we haven't yet found, like those in the Nether. If any chest is unlabeled because we don't have the items yet, I'm just going to put a single stick inside. That will keep the copper golems from thinking it's an empty chest and just putting any old item inside. The real test, though, is if our copper golems can sort all of our items. So we're going to add a few items here to our first input chest and see if they make it all the way to their proper storage locations. I'm already making a few tweaks to our design. At first, our copper golem was having trouble figuring out how to sort these chests. When he was on the lower floor here and having to reach up 3 chests, he was looking in a random pattern and not figuring out how to get to these final chests down here. However, once I added a block so that he was flat on the level of the first chest and only had to look up 1, he's gone in a perfect pattern of lower to higher, each one in a row, and then finally getting to the last chest, which overflows to the next section. So I'm going to go through and give everyone a little step up so that they can reach the chest correctly. I've been watching this second guy for a while, and I think we're going to have to change this corner design a little bit. I gave him the little platform to stand on. Let's see what he does when I add something to the chest. jumps up and looks in these chests just fine. But then when he's finished, he tries to start the next section and immediately goes to the overflow chest. He skips all 4 of these chests. I've tried it a couple different ways. I've tried removing these blocks so he'd have a different line of sight, and it's just not working. He very consistently skips all 4 of these chests and goes straight to the overflow chest. So I think I'm going to set up a corner section here and another copper golem on this side and see if that fixes our problem. All right, I think we've made a few tweaks and finally our copper golems can sort our system effectively. This platform has helped them reach all of the chests so that this outflow chest is the very last one. And then that can bring items to our next copper golem. We've added a divider and an extra system here on the corner because the corner was just not working correctly. And so now we have one copper golem on this side of the corner and another one on the opposite side. And that has proved much more effective in allowing them to sort all the chests. I made a few tweaks to these room connecting sections that we can see down our hallway. Originally, this chest was half behind this pillar, and the copper golem didn't have any problem finding items out of the copper chest. However, this chest was also half behind the column, and he just could never see it, and he just stood around here in the center. So I did move this chest over 1 block and give him a little step-up platform so that now he can find his way to the other chest. We've continued this pattern around the entire perimeter of our base until at last we reach our final overflow chest. These pink petals are one of the final items in our storage system. That last overflow chest is just through that crack. So I'm going to put some pink petals in the system and see if they end up in our chest. We have our 1 petal here for the filter, and we'll see if we get some more. Aha, I've discovered the problem. I'm missing a hopper. So you can see the pink petals coming down the line here, but this guy is stuck because I didn't add another hopper. Let's fix that problem. There we go. And see if our pink petals can get a little farther around the system. Okay, it's been a few minutes and I've seen a lot of activity over here by this copper golem looking in chests. So let's check out our pink petal chest. Oh, that's exactly what he was putting in right then. We finally have our first item that went all the way around the circle here. Our copper golem system is working correctly, that these items filtered all the way around the entire perimeter of the base. Now that we've made progress on the side rooms, it's time to turn our attention back to the Great Hall. Now, I'm no artist, but I do like to sketch out my designs with actual pencil and paper. I love these little grid notebooks that I can use to design Minecraft spaces. It's often beneficial to me to sketch out the designs on paper before trying to build them in-game. Let's use some wool to physically mark out what we've been sketching. So first, in the corners, we want a sturdy pillar. So I think maybe a 4x4 pillar here. Pulled out a little bit from the wall, I think, because of the way our windows are gonna sit. But a big sturdy pillar here in the corner. Then in our sketch, we skipped a space and then marked out a window. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So that would be our fake stained glass window. We're gonna have to figure out what to do with our chest here if it's behind this window, but we'll deal with that when we get there. And then we skipped a space in our sketch and put another pillar. Of course, these would go all the way up to the ceiling. Skip a space and repeat our window. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Skip a space and a pillar right before our hallway entrance. So that would be the general layout at the front here. 3 pillars and 2 fake windows here on the sides. And of course, we'd repeat that on the other side. And I think there's only room for one window on this side. If we start at the edge here with another pillar, and then skip a space and make our window 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Skip a space, pillar. There we go. Yes, just enough room. And then we'll cover this up with our shelves and our decor for our copper golem sorting system as we've done in the other rooms. All right. I like the symmetry of that. I think that works. We'll have a couple large windows and some big sturdy columns that reach up to the ceiling to hold everything up. All right. Now we just have to design those pillars and those windows. I've been really inspired by this picture of the Great Hall in Winchester Castle. I like the way the decorative columns extend upward and then maybe a third of the way from the top, they branch outward into those arch-like supports. I've been playing around with a few ideas in a creative world, and I like the look of these stone bricks against our stone wall. Now, if we use walls, we get that little bit of texture in the column. And then we could put some stairs around the base to kind of flesh out the edge here. There we go. Of course, we'll make this taller. All the way up, about 2/3 of the way up the wall, maybe. And then we could use stairs to make that arch. Stairs and slabs. And keep putting those up and around to make those arches from one column to the next. Obviously, way up in the sky. And support that ceiling with our sturdy columns. Now to design the windows. I want it to be like a window in that it will be a light source. As you can see, we've definitely done the torch spam in here, and I want to change that to an actual, more aesthetic light source. We haven't been to the Nether yet, so that means no glowstone for redstone lamps, no blaze rods for copper bulbs, and no frog lights. So our options for full-size blocks are fairly limited, except you can already see in my inventory that I've made some jack-o'-lanterns. I have been harvesting pumpkins every time I walked by our little pumpkin patch, and we're going to use these as lights in our windows. We're going to make a backdrop of these jack-o'-lanterns and then cover them with cherry leaf blocks. From far away, you get that light peeking through, but you really can't tell that it's a jack-o'-lantern unless you really look carefully at the pattern. Then we can surround it with other blocks in order to make a window frame. That's a very basic start on designing our columns and our windows for our Great Hall. So we're going to jump into a time lapse and see how they turn out. We've made a lot of progress on our Great Hall so far. I love the way these columns and beams are turning out to fill in the space. However, we already had to dig another 10 blocks or so out of the back wall to make room for all of our columns. And now we have another problem. Look at this column. It butts up exactly to our storage system. We actually can't even put the stairs in here because of our shelves. So we have to make a decision. Do we like it like this? Do we just move these chests out of this area and leave just the middle ones? Or do we tear this out and move it backward? And you can probably guess I'm going to move it backward. I do like this set of shelves. I like the way the 3 sets of copper golems can keep sorting around the perimeter. So we're gonna tear all of this out and push it back a few blocks. However, we did tear out those blocks at the back and make more room, so I guess it was for a reason after all. This is what happens when you don't plan every little bit of your build first and you just jump in and build. Even though I sketched some of these arches and some of this space, I didn't plan every single thing. And as we made changes to the design, we're gonna have to make changes to even the overall structure. And to me, that's part of the fun. So let's get to doing a little demolition and move this wall backward. What a transformation. Remember when this was just a hollowed out space, and now look at how far we've come. I used this window design all the way down, even into our entranceway. So if you look at our entrance, I changed the design to match the space. So we have this window with the jack-o'-lanterns behind the cherry leaves, and some stripes of the stripped cherry wood surrounded by the stone bricks. And then our columns to hold up our ceiling with those beams of dark oak across the top. And we have this same design all the way down our great hall. I even added the window shape above both of the hallways here. And you can see a few pink petals falling down. I hope to someday put a feature of some sort here in the middle. I'm thinking a custom cherry tree because I'd love to have more cherry petals around falling down through this space. Now, there's still quite a lot of work to do. If we step on into the room here, you can see that our wall was very thin, and so you can see the back of those jack-o'-lanterns in our rooms. So we're definitely going to have to decorate these walls to cover that up. You can also see, though, that we have removed all of our chests. All of our items are now sorted by our copper golems. So as you can see, let's check out the beginning here. We left the chest exposed under our window. This is our input chest, and it is completely empty. A little at a time, I dumped all of the items into that chest, and the copper golems have sorted it all the way around the whole perimeter of the base. And there's just a few things in our final overflow chest. Here's some things that either I only had one of or I didn't think to sort at the beginning. So I'll have to clean this up and put these somewhere in our base. But otherwise, all our belongings are sorted out into our storage system with the help of our copper golem friends. You can see them still sorting down here at the end some of those last items into the chests. We also need to finish some lighting in this space. You might be able to see it if I get in the right spot here. Oh, there you go. You can see I put some torches on top each of these columns so that will help light up our top, as we were having some mob spawning on the very top there. And I've got some torches still here on the ground, and that is helping light up this center area a little bit without being torches right down the center of the room. So we do need to add a little more lighting, especially once we get some kind of feature in here. We can maybe put some lighting in it or put some glow lighting eventually on the ceiling. We'll see. Another tweak I'd like to make is adding some greenery to the space. We have a little green in our cherry leaves, but I think we could add a little more foliage, a little more green leaves, maybe some mossy stone bricks, just to add another pop of color to our space. We're at the back of the grand hall here behind the copper golems. And so I wanted to show you what I did on this side. I did move this, of course, to have room for these columns, and I moved this back. And so we've done quite a few things twice, but now that we have it all in line, we actually had to make our little hallway go around here to make it all fit in. But behind these copper golems, I built an extra little storage room for bulk storage. So these are just for things that we've gotten way more than 2 double chests of, like cobblestone or stone or even seeds. We are collecting quite a bit, and there's room for more. If we need bulk storage, we're going to shift it back here behind the copper golems. And then I also had dug out earlier this long hallway just as a back exit or entrance to our base that comes out behind our hillside. And just over there, you can just see the path. That's the village way over there in the distance. And there's the top of our hill. So that way we have another entrance or exit to our base on the opposite side. Wow. And the Endermen love hanging out back here. You can see, I can see what? Oh my goodness, 7 right now? At least 7 at one time. So yeah, they are everywhere, moving blocks around our area. Oh, don't look at them. Don't look, don't look. Okay, we're just gonna stay here for a minute. Oh my goodness. I've been really trying hard not to look at one, and there I go. Okay, we live here now. We've spent almost this whole episode cooped up inside this base with all of these building projects. I think it's time now to see a little sunshine, touch a little grass, and welcome in the newest Minecraft update. We just updated to version 26.1, the Tiny Takeover. And the best part is now we get to keep baby animals with the golden dandelion. We tend to see a lot of different animals on our hillside, especially since the animal AI encourages them to travel upward. Let's collect some of their favorite foods so that we can breed our animals and see some of those cute new babies. First, some seeds for the chickens and wheat for the cows and sheep. And some carrots for the pigs and maybe a rabbit. And some spider eyes for the armadillos. Of course, we'll need to feed the babies golden dandelions in order to keep them forever young. So let's go craft that. All right, we have enough for 8 babies, so we'll have to see what we have on top of the hillside. Last but not least, I kind of want some pink sheep, so I'm going to bring a little pink dye with me in case we have sheep on the hillside, and dye them my favorite color. All right, we have animals everywhere. Look at the cows and the sheep and the pigs and chickens. Oh, I can't even, wait. Okay, this is a lot of sheep over here. I think there are sheep everywhere. Oh my goodness. Look over here. Okay, we have a lot of sheep on our hillside. Let's see if we can get a couple new babies, though. Okay, okay. Come, everybody. Aw, we have a baby sheep. Let's get another one. Let me see. Where are they? Oh, oh, look how cute you are. Okay, we're going to have to make that one pink. And feed it a dandelion if we can get back around to it. Come here, baby. Come here, baby. It's quick. There we go. Oh, now we have a forever young baby sheep. That's pink. And let's see if where's that other baby, if we can find it. There it is. Oh, they are quick. And I heard that they eat a lot, and that looks like it is true. They are eating everything. There we go. Now we have a baby white sheep. Look how adorable. And let's see the baby chicks. Oh, they're so cute. Oh, listen at them. Aw. Oh, here's our armadillos. Oh, look at the tiny baby. Oh, that is so sweet. So cute. Looks like we have several pigs here. Come here, piggies. Oh, look at the baby pig. Where's the other one? Oh, are you hiding? Oh, there you are. Look at the tiny piglets. So cute. Aw. All right, we only have one flower left. Oh, what about a bee? Let's see if we have any bees over here. Let's go to our beehive. Let's see if we can find, oh, there's one. All right, let's grab some flowers. There they are. Okay, here you go. Hello. All right, bees, baby bee. Oh, there's a tiny baby bee. Oh, I love how sweet they look. How tiny. Adorable. These baby animals are so cute, and I'm so excited to have them in our game now. We're gonna have to keep mining for gold just so we can have one of every type of baby animal in the future. Since we're playing sweet, I want to make sure we treat these animals kindly, so I don't want to put them in tiny little pens. We'll have to come up with some enclosure or fence to keep them safe, but also give them plenty of room to roam. Since we can easily craft name tags now, we also need to name all these cute little fellows, but I think I'll save that for another day. Well, what did you think? I hope today's video inspired you to clean up the clutter, but also to find a little cuteness along the way. Good Lord willing and the sun still shines, I'll see you again in the next video. Thank you kindly for watching, and bless your heart.